What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the 2026 NFL Draft. This is year number 7 of us doing the NFL Draft. It's me, it's Joe. It's been a while since we've had a sit-down podcast, but we had to keep the streak going. We just had to. So we're going to be talking about all 32 first-round picks going down on Thursday. Joe and I were talking before this. This is a very tough year. Very tough year. We're going to dig into why that's tough as we go pick through pick. We're going to be keep tracking everyone's pick. My mock draft is going to be the white one, and Joe's going to be in dark mode. So that's how you guys will be able to tell who's going where. I got depth charts pulled up. I got player profiles. Let's head right into it. And the first pick here, this is the only layup of the whole draft. There's one layup, and it's Fernando Mendoza to the Las Vegas Raiders. Mendoza, undefeated, Heisman, national champion, had quite literally a perfect season. But I don't think he's the perfect prospect. I think he's not a Caleb Williams. He's not a Trevor Lawrence type of guy. He's tall. He's got a good build. But I think he's susceptible to maybe some pressure issues. And I think the Raiders are aware of that because they went out and they gave Tyler Linderbaum a hefty contract. They went out and they signed a new left guard. They got themselves a weapon in Jalen Nailor, Deese. And then you got Genty and Bowers there as well. You got a play caller coming off of a Super Bowl victory in Clint Kubiak. The pieces are there for Fernando Mendoza to have success with the Raiders. Like I said, this one's a layup. How I think he's going to do in the NFL, I mean, when you're playing in a division against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert, and then the Broncos, who in all likelihood would have made the Super Bowl if Bo Nix didn't get hurt, it's a tall task. I don't think they're going to have success early. They'll probably be picking in the top 5 to 10 again next year. Joe, I know you're a Raiders guy, but they don't got Pete Carroll anymore, though, so maybe not. But yeah, this one's a layup. I got him taking Fernando Mendoza.
Yep, only layup of the draft, like you said. Mendoza's going here. It's like, I know you mentioned, like, prospect-wise, he wins. He just wins. He's like his head coach. Google me. I win. Like, they win. He's mixing in with Clint Cougs now. I mean, also just won a Super Bowl. So there's a lot of winning going on in an organization where it hasn't in a while. I think he'll fit in nicely, like you said. You got Brock Bowers still. The O-line is drastically improved, even though they spent an arm and a leg to get there. I think they do have definitely potential there. Receiving room, it's on the blow and blows right now. So we'll see how they approach that in later rounds. But I think this is going to be, like you said, tough division start, but it reminds me a lot of Joe Burrow-y. Like, it might be a rough start, but he's going to win. And I think I just hope Clint Cougs isn't more like Zach Taylor because he sucks. But I really think the Raiders are getting a home run draft pick right here.
Another guy we forgot to name, Kirk Cousins, is going to be there. Mendoza might not even be the guy starting week 1.
Perfect mentor. I mean, it'll fit perfectly.
Kirk Cousins is just like Mendoza, but 10 years older. Yeah, like it's a
guaranteed money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Mendoza might even have an opportunity to sit for half a season. I doubt it would be a full season, but Kirk's gonna be there, leading them along the way. Now we're heading into number 2, and this is the most controversial number 2 pick I've seen in my time. Looking at the draft, it's just been back and forth between Arvell Reese and David Bailey, 2 edge rushers. Because let's be honest, this Jets defense was abysmal last season. And it seems the odds have just been flipping back and forth, not even by the day, but by the hour. David Bailey right now, or as of this afternoon, was the favorite, minus 150. But like Rich Simney here said, I got his tweet pulled up, the market's flip-flopped a couple times in the last week. Just last night, Arvell Reese was minus 300. Now he's down to plus 115. So the Jets are doing a really good job of keeping things pretty tight-lipped. With that being said, I have them taking Arvell Reese, the outside linebacker, going to be an edge rusher for the New York Jets. I'm going to pull up their depth chart here real quick. The Jets knew that they had an issue, and they've really attacked defense. They've added 6. Before the draft has even taken place, they've added 6 starters defensively. They had 0 interceptions last year, and that's not just a secondary problem. That could also be attributed to a lack of pressure, and Arvell Reese is definitely going to help that. He's just like a he's just a behemoth. He's a beast if you watch this guy play. A lot of people like to bring up how Micah Parsons was an outside linebacker. He switched to edge rusher. Abdul Carter had a similar thing where he switched to edge rusher. I think Arvell Reese is the next guy in line. It is tough between him and David Bailey, but rumor has it that Aaron Glenn's guy is Arvell Reese, but the GM, Darren Moogie's guy, is David Bailey. So both guys, those are the two strongest voices for the Jets. They each want a different guy. Who's going to win? I went with my guy, Aaron Glenn. And I have the New York Jets selecting Arvell Reese.
It's tough because I went on the opposite side of it. I have the Jets taking David Bailey here.
Nice.
It's a toss-up. It truly is a toss-up. And you look at it and you're like, especially like you mentioned the Jets, put a lot of time into the defense this offseason. You got Minka, you got DeMario, you got Harrison Phillips, you got
Nashawn
Wright.
Nashawn Wright.
Yeah, Nashawn Wright. So they definitely added, and they're going to continue to add. You look at that offense, and I know they have another first-round pick later on, but my God, it's bleak. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. They do have some pieces in the wide receiver room. Geno Smith's obviously a good veteran to have there, but you're not going to win many games with that offense. However, there's not really an offensive guy you could take here. You already have a running back. They're not going to take Carnell Tate at 2. I doubt they're going to trade down. So, like I said, I have them taking David Bailey just because it just seems like a Jets pick. It's a Jets thing to do. Not saying he's bad, He's very explosive. I think that's going to fit what the Jets defense brings. And I think Aaron Glenn's going to get – either way, I think they get a safe pick here.
Yeah, I really don't think you can go wrong. Arvell Reese is my number 1 edge rusher. David Bailey's my number 2. And the reason why I like Reese a little more, one, because he's versatile. He can play linebacker and edge rusher. But he's only 20 years old still. He doesn't turn 21 until nearly September. So I think that youth gives him a couple extra years. I think he might be a year and a half, 2 years younger than David Bailey. But like Joe said, I think either way, they're in a good spot. Not only with this pick, Joe, you mentioned they had another first-round pick. They're picking at 16. They also have 2 early seconds. They have 4 picks in the top 44. Like I said, they've made a bunch of additions already.
They've done it before where they trade up for another first round where they get 3. So, I mean, that was what year was that?
22 or 23. Yeah. They're building something. I don't hate what they're doing. So we'll see how it plays out. But that'll take us into pick number 3, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, they just fired their head coach. They bring in Mike LaFleur. He's an offensive guy. So maybe you're thinking, maybe we get a running back. Maybe we get an offensive tackle, someone to help out that offense. I'm going in a different direction, though. I'm just taking David Bailey. Like Joe mentioned to me before we started recording, if you're in doubt, just go best player available. And I think David Bailey is the next best guy up. I'm going to pull up the depth chart here real quick. You look at this Arizona Cardinals defense, and there's not a ton of names. Now, you brought in Josh Sweat. You drafted Walter Nolan in round 1 last year. But they still just haven't generated a lot of pressure. No offenses are scared. Ooh, we're playing the Cardinals defense this week. Look out. And when you're playing in a division with the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, the Rams with Sean McVay, and the Seahawks, who are coming off a Super Bowl victory, you got to get some guys that are going to stop those offenses. And I think David Bailey's going to do that. He's had 29 career sacks. Last season, he led the country with 14.5, and he has 10 career forced fumbles. The guy makes a lot of big plays. I think this Cardinals defense needs some of that. Ooh, you all right there?
Yeah, just me. Yeah, you're good.
And, I think David Bailey is an elite pass rusher. I think you can't go wrong with either one of these guys. I think if one goes 2, the other one's going to go 3. I got David Bailey headed to Glendale.
Yeah, to be honest, changed my pick about 30 minutes before the draft, or before our video here. I did have Jeremiah Love going here, and then thought about it a little bit. It's like, why bring in Tyler Algier if, like, Tyler Algier, he's a more than capable starting running back in NFL. I expect him to get a bulk of the carries to start the year, especially with James Conner being down. Also, Trey Benson, both of them, they'll both be back healthy. But that's a three-headed monster there. They're just gonna see who honestly gets them the best look. I think that's why LaFleur brought in Algier, or like wanted Algier, because one of those three guys is going to prove to be a starter. You look at it, you could bring in Jeremiah Love right away, sure, but I think you got to address more of the O-line if you want to go that route. But their offense, with Brissett, we saw it last year. They're gonna throw the ball. Their offense really didn't seem to be the issue. It was their defense. So, what better way to get a very young linebacker who's going to boost your defense immediately? A lot of people are talking about the Cowboys trading up for this guy, and it's like I'm all for that for the Cowboys. This is the guy right here. If you want your defense boosted right away, this is your guy. And he might not be.
You haven't even said him yet.
Huh?
You haven't even said his name yet.
Oh, Arvell Reese. Sorry.
Nice.
But this is the guy that, like, right away, it might take a little while, but over time, he is going to probably be the best defensive player from this draft. And what better way for the Cardinals to get a cornerstone defensive player right here? So I have them taking Arvell Reese. Like I said, I do think Reese will be the best defensive player in the draft. The Jets, on the other hand, they just jet. So that's why either way, they're going to go the other way. But I think it's very safe to say that – I wouldn't say very safe, but it's more than likely that Bailey and Reese are going to go 2 and 3.
And if not 2 and 3, it'll probably be 4 right there.
It could be great to, like, these teams that want Jeremiah Love and think the Titans, who might take them. Cardinals definitely could trade down, grab some more picks so that they might not get the best defensive player, but still get a few defensive players that will make an impact on their defense this year.
Yeah, and I like what you said earlier about the trade. Really, the Raiders are locked in, the Jets are locked in. The third pick is probably the first opportunity for a trade-up that we're going to see. I don't think it's going to happen, though. Neither does Joe. But look out for that one, whether it's Kansas City or Dallas. There's going to be some murmurs here in the next 48 hours. It's going to be a fun time.
Right.
But that'll take us into pick number 4, the Tennessee Titans. Time for me to pull up their depth chart. And they, like the Jets, they've been making some big-time moves. New head coach, new offensive coordinator, new wide receiver they brought in, a bunch of new guys on defense because the defense has been an issue. I really like what they've been doing as well. They go and they've just been getting all of Saleh and Dable's old players. John Franklin Myers and Jermaine Johnson played for Robert Saleh. Wan'Dale Robinson and Cordell Flott played for Brian Dable. So it's just like it's a reunion here in Nashville, Tennessee. And with that being said, the Titans are in a great spot. I think this is a perfect situation. Whoever they take is going to help this ball club. And I didn't have them doing this a couple days ago, but I've caved. I've got the Tennessee Titans drafting Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame. I've been saying this for months at this point. You draft Cam Ward number 1 overall, you got to put him in a position to succeed. A weapons group of Wan'Dale, Calvin Ridley, Alec Manor, Gunnar Helm, and Tony Pollard is not putting him in a place to succeed. Now, whether that's a receiver or a running back, I think either would be very beneficial. Jeremiah Love is the best skill position guy on the board right now. I think they probably need receiver a little more, but like it's all about value. It's all about value, and I think Love is the best value at pick number 4. You saw what adding a weapon for a young quarterback did in Carolina. That Panthers offense was brutes. They bring in Rico Dowdle, and then they draft Tet McMillan in the first round. Panthers make the playoffs a year after that. So you get your guy in Wan'Dale. If they draft Jeremiah Love here, I really like what the Titans are doing. And Brian Dable's had Saquon Barkley before. He's going to get another guy very similar in Jeremiah Love. Titans. This would be a good pick.
Couldn't agree more. You need a dude to go with Cam Ward, and I think there's no better way than bringing the next version of what could be the next great Titan right here for the Tennessee Titans. Jeremiah Love is the pick here. They shouldn't overthink it. This gives you such a boost and an advantage in the offensive game, and then that allows your quarterback to just kind of like take a breath. He doesn't have to do everything. We're going to try and do everything to win. That running back's going to do a lot of the load where Cam Ward just has to make passes when, obviously that's the name of the game, make passes when you need them, but it's not every time where he's having to make these throws where his receiving room it's all right, but this team definitely is going to catch some people's eyes this year, I think, and they need to take Jeremiah Love here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is your guy, and let's roll.
Yeah, a lot of these teams, they like to take running backs. Maybe they don't have more important positions figured out, like the Raiders last year with Gentry. They needed quarterback. They took running back. The Titans don't need a quarterback. Cam Ward, I think, showed a lot of promise in year one. You pair him with a great quarterback developer in Brian Dable. You saw what he did with Josh Allen in Buffalo. You saw him make some sparks with Danny Dimes in New York. And I think he's going to help out Cam Ward, and I think Jeremiah Love is absolutely going to help out Cam Ward. That takes us to pick 5, the New York Giants. This is their first of 2 picks in the top 10. They're making some headlines over the weekend with the Dexter Lawrence trade. Time to pull up their depth chart. Got a new head coach, new play caller in Matt Nagy. They can do some really, really fun pairings here in New York. And I just think for years, this Giants defense, they've had pass rush, but for some reason, they've never been able to figure out the run defense. They need some run stuffers. Now more than ever, after you get rid of one of the best defensive tackles in football. And there's no good defensive tackles to take in the top 5 or the top 10. But I got a guy in mind. And if you look at those John Harbaugh Ravens teams, there's always one thing in common. When he started off 15 years ago, he had Ray Lewis. Throughout those early to mid-2010s, the whole 2010s, he had C.J. Mosley, who was a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker. Then in the early 2020s, they go out and get Roquan Smith, man in the middle. I think John Harbaugh and the New York Giants are going to get their next guy that's going to be in conversations with the guys I just named, and that is Sonny Styles, the linebacker out of Ohio State. This guy tore up the combine. He had a 9.99 relative athletic score. And that's because the first 2 years of his college career, he was a safety. He changed positions. If you look at the Giants' depth chart right now, your linebackers are Micah McFadden and Tremaine Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds, he's decent, but do you want him really man in the middle when you can have Sonny Styles to pair with him? That's a nasty duo. I think he just flies across the field. He plays fast, he plays hard, and it's exactly someone that John Harbaugh wants to bring in the building. I got Sonny Styles going 5 with the Giants.
Not bad. I have the Giants taking a little different route here. I've been taking Caleb Downs.
Nice.
Safety here. I just feel like, especially after being in Baltimore with Kyle Hamilton, he knows how important a position like this. And like you said, Sonny Styles does the exact same thing. It's almost like I'm just going to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone here. I have the Giants trading up to 6 with the Browns, and I also have them taking Sonny Styles.
Oh, wow.
So I'm taking both.
Okay.
I think the Giants in such a great situation here. It reminds me of what the Texans did with Stroud and Will Anderson. It reminds me of what the Giants did last year when they traded up for Darton. They're actively moving, and I don't think them giving up a potential 3rd-round pick next year to land 2 guys that have played college football together, this makes too much sense for them to go out and get 2 defensive studs that play very similar styles of football under John Harbaugh. And with the Browns, it makes a little sense too, because I don't think the next 3 teams will take 3 straight receivers, and if that does happen, they take an O lineman at 10. I think they're content with that. I have them getting one of the receivers at 10, but I think for the Giants, this would be an absolute home run if you're able to pull this off. You get 2 defensive studs, possibly 2 of the best defensive players in the draft at 5 and 6. The whole reason you traded Dexter Lawrence, okay, let's get more explosive. Not saying Dexter Lawrence anything. You have enough so far.
He's
on
fat.
That D-line.
You can say it. Dexter Lawrence is fat.
You have Thibodeau, Burns. You have enough. Go out, build that secondary, which I think they've done already. You got Javon Holland and Greg Newsome. But I think you just go out and get 2 defensive demons right here. So Giants 5 and 6. I have Downs and Styles.
That's awesome. Pairing the Ohio State teammates together. That's what we call a kaboom again, right there.
Yeah.
Giants take Downs at 5, trade up to 6, take Styles, boom, boom. That's pretty pimp. All right. Well, I have the Browns are another team that's very, very, very rumored to be maybe looking to trade back. For me, trades are just they're so hard to predict. I think this one I don't want to say it's likely like more likely than not because trades like I said are hard to predict. But I could definitely see one happening here. I do not have them doing that though. I have the Cleveland Browns staying put at 6. Um, this feels one of the more straightforward picks. Their defense is fantastic. It's been so for the last couple years. You got the best defensive player in football. You had the best defensive rookie last year in Carson Schwarzenegger. You got some great secondary pieces. You drafted Mason Graham at the 5th pick last year. This year it's all about offense. You sign an offensive head coach in Todd Monken. You have kind of a logjam at quarterback, but you have some other issues as well. And there's really no quarterback worth taking at the 6th pick. But there is an offensive lineman. There is a receiver, plenty of receivers worth being taken. So I have them going that route. I have them taking Francis Maui-Noa, the tackle out of Miami. I have a tweet pulled up here. This is their GM, Andrew Berry. He has a quote here. It's pretty simple. I've said this before. Tackles are tackles. And I think the point that he was trying to make there is that he's okay with moving a guy across the line. Now, the Browns' biggest hole is at left tackle. Maui-Noa played right tackle in college, but Andrew Berry isn't scared to make that kind of move. I think he can slide Maui-Noa over to the left side or their current right tackle, Titus Howard. Now, it's pretty hard for me to give you, the scouting report on an offensive tackle because I really don't know how to evaluate those kind of guys. But he's big, he's beefy, he's a first-team All-American, and he's powerful. And it's the exact kind of player. Like, a lot of people talk about, like, Chicago Bears. They play, like, a mean-style football. I would say the Browns are one of those teams as well. They play Midwestern AFC North football. Maui-Noa does just that. I got Maui-Noa headed to the Browns. I guess I'll just jump right into pick 7 because you did your kaboom again. Now we got the Commanders, and the Commanders I was very low on them last season. I think we both were. We thought that 24 season might have been a fluke. They came back to earth. They came crashing down to earth, and I was really concerned about them coming into this offseason. But they've made some moves that I like, and defense was the issue. They were old. They were bad. But they've made some moves. They signed Kaylavon Chason and Odafe Owe, 2 defensive ends. They signed Leo Chenal, who's a middle linebacker, Nick Cross, who can play safety, and Amik Robertson, who is a starting nickelback. So I think they've put themselves in a position where they can now take the best player available. And I have them, it's kind of a debate on who the best player available is. The website that we're using, mockdraftcentral.io, go check it out, great website, has this guy as the 3rd best player available. And if you can't see who I'm talking about, it is Carnell Tate, the receiver out of Ohio State. It's a similar situation. Jaden Daniels is a young quarterback with a abysmal running back room. You got Rashad White, Jerome Ford, and Krosky Merritt. An abysmal wide receiver room with Terry McLaurin, who's good, but then Treylon Burks and Luke McCaffrey. I know Jaden Daniels is great, but he's still young. He still needs some help, especially coming off 2 injuries.
Not both.
Say it again?
I said one of those guys can be in your receiving core, not both.
Absolutely. You got Van Jefferson and De'Ami Brown back there. A lot of mid going on. And Carnell Tate, he's anything but that. He's 6'3", 195, and he's got great hands. He had 0 drops and an 86.7 contested catch rate. This guy's really good. I think the Commanders get another Ohio State receiver that wears number 17. It's a pretty fun pairing. Daniels, McLaurin, Tate. Now you're cooking with something. So that's who I got the Commanders going with.
I also have them going receiver. I think the receiver I have them taking, though, fits them better, and I truly think this guy is going to be the best receiver in the draft. I have them going Makai Lemon at 7 here. Now, you may say Carnell Tate over Lemon's ability to play in the slot. It's so Amon-Ra-like to be able to do it all. Terry already gets you downfield. Lemon's going to open up a whole bunch of opportunities for a team that is needy of another skill position player. Now, going with, Jaden Daniels, this Commanders team, usually in the past, the Commanders have been bitten by their first-round picks. And then looking at this one, Carnell Tate was there. I think they hit a home run here if they take Makai Lemon. I think he fits them to a T. I don't know. I really haven't done much research about the Commanders and who they're taking, but I feel like this would be a fantastic pick if they were able to land him there. Like you said, The receiving core needs help. Go get a guy that's going to make an impact day one, because you had a terrible year last year, and you have to now prove people that it wasn't a fluke the first year you did it. And I think Dan Quinn knows that. Nothing against Carnell Tate, but I think you are something very similar there with Terry McLaurin already. So I think going Makai Lemon here opens up some more opportunities.
I've thought about that Tate and McLaurin are pretty similar stylistically. So you got him going Lemon. I got to be honest, I don't hate that. Carnell Tate is my wide receiver 3. I have him going number 7, but if this were me doing it, I think all 3 of them are great. I'm just going to put it out there. All 3 of them are going to be good receivers. I have Tyson as my 1. I have Lemon as my 2. Tate as my 3. I've said this on Twitter before. You can't go wrong taking any of them. There's going to be 3 lucky teams come Thursday that are going to get each of these guys, and I don't think you can go wrong. But that takes us to pick number 8, the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints were in a decent spot to be picking top 2, top 3, but they went and rattled off a bunch of wins with Tyler Shuck. So much so that Kellen Moore said, you know what, this is our guy. We're committing to him for the future. And they've made some moves to back that up. David Edwards, they got a new starting left guard. They got a new starting running back, Travis Etienne. They really haven't touched the defense too much, so maybe you're like, oh, got him going defense. And I could totally see that. That cornerback room needs some help. They got Kool-Aid McKinstry and Isaac Yedem, probably one of the weaker cornerback rooms in the league. But you know what else is weak? Devon Vele as your wide receiver 2 and Mason Tipton as your wide receiver 3. If you're Kellen Moore, you're an offensive head coach, you commit to this quarterback. It's a similar situation to the Titans. It's a similar situation to the Commanders. If you're committing to him for the future, you got to put him in the best position possible to succeed, and that's taking a weapon. With that being said, I have them taking Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver out of Arizona State. I love Jordan Tyson. He's my wide receiver 1. He's had some injury issues, so I could see him. He's a high ceiling, low floor guy. He has an ACL tear. He has a hamstring issue. Those linger, and a broken collarbone. But he's one of the best route runners I've ever seen. He's one of the best playmakers I've ever seen. He just pops. His highlights pop, and I like a guy that pops. My wide receiver comparison for him is CeeDee Lamb. So I got high praise for this guy. I'm really rooting for him because he's a good dude too. And yeah, I think Tyler Shuck gets a really nice receiver to pair with Olave. Similar thing to the Commanders. Olave and Tyson. That's a nice little duo there. So that's who I got the Saints going with.
Couldn't agree more, Paul. I also have them going receiver. I think it's kind of like the situation of, you look at, and I don't want to compare it to this because I think both of these players are going to be great in the NFL, but it kind of reminds me of the Vikings and Eagles a little bit. Oh, no. Justin Jefferson. No, I'm not saying player-wise. I'm just saying the team-wise. Saints think that Commander's going to take Carnell Tate. Oh, he's going to fall right into our laps at 8. And I think the Saints here get Carnell Tate. Like you said, I think him with Olave, it's more different than it would be McLaurin, but like you said, they need to open up that weapon room a little more. And what better way to get the projected 1 receiver in this draft than to boost that? And I think he'll fit in very nicely. I could also see them. Like I said, I thought about defense here. The guy of the Chiefs taking, we'll get into that next, but he's a defensive player. And especially with Brandon Staley there, new defensive scheme, stuff like that, totally could see them going defense. But I think it's more important that they didn't expect Carnell Tate to fall to them and at 8. And I think they don't pass on that opportunity. Best player available, they take Carnell Tate.
Yeah, and one of his calling cards is his deep ball. That's one of the things that he's better at. Carnell Tate running down the sideline, that's going to help him out a bunch. And that lets Olave, who I think is a better route runner than he is like a deep ball, jump ball guy, that allows him to move into the slot and do what he does best. So that's pretty fun. So me and Joe both got him going receivers. 2 different guys though. So we're gonna be having some. Me and Joe like to see who can get more right. This is gonna be close, just based on how we've been going so far. So Joe, you mentioned it before. Pick number 9. These guys aren't used to picking this high. They went 6-11 last year. Their quarterback's coming off an ACL tear. It's Patrick Mahomes, it's Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs. You go out, you get Kenneth Walker. Defensively, you lose some guys too. You lost Trent McDuffie, you traded him for a later first-round pick, which we'll get to later in the video, and Jalen Watson you weren't able to re-sign. So I think cornerback is an option here. Um, Chris Jones is getting older. They haven't had a lot of pressure, so I think defensive end's an option here. Travis Kelsey's getting older. Maybe you see Kenyon Sadiq go here. Those receivers aren't, faring too well. You can go receiver here. They have so many opportunities to make so many good picks. Anything will help this team because Owen, our friend, he's a Chiefs fan. He's right. Mahomes has masked a lot of problems with this team. They are not that good of a roster. I'm gonna be honest. But out of all those positions I just mentioned, I don't have them taking any of those positions at all. Your quarterback just tore his ACL. I think you need to protect him. I got them going with the right tackle out of Utah, Spencer Fano. Now, I think kind of a fun tidbit, Andy Reid played football at BYU collegiately 50-something years ago, however long ago it was. Spencer Fano's coach at Utah, Kyle Whittingham, also played at BYU with Andy Reid. They're friends. They were teammates. Maybe Andy and Kyle are chopping it up saying, dude, you got to take my guy Spencer. He's a beast. Now you have Josh Simmons at left tackle. He showed some promise, but he's missed some time. And then your right tackle, Jalen Moore, has also missed quite a bit of time. You cut Jawan Taylor. So there's a lot of wishy-washiness going on in this Kansas City Chiefs tackle room. And Spencer Fano can play both positions. He's a 3-year starter. He started 1 year at left tackle, 2 years at right. He's a 2-time All-American. I think he'll be a very good pick. But like I said, I think anyone will be a very good pick for this Chiefs team. But I got him going with right tackle, Spencer Fano.
Yeah, this one was kind of tough because, you just traded away Trent McDuffie. Their secondary blows. I debated 3 guys at this pick. Spencer Fano was one of them. I did not decide to go with him. I also debated Mansour Delane from LSU, secondary, but I ultimately ended up going with Ruben Bain Jr. from Miami. Like you mentioned, skill position players, especially their defensive line. Now, like I said, you could go a few ways. Yeah, you probably do need secondary help, but the Chiefs, for some reason, that's the thing. You have George Karlaftis still, you have Chris Jones. You have a good defensive line, I'd say, for the most part with that edge. But I think by adding Ruben Bain here, you are not only setting yourself up for a future that is also uncertain with the defensive line, but it's a bull-rushing defensive line. So that, especially on a defense that's uncertain, you know that pass rush is going to be legit going to all these teams. And I think the secondary, you're going to find a guy at each position that will mesh on that field perfectly. Like I said, you could obviously losing Jawan Taylor. You could go tackle here. Also, you could see them possibly going receiver. A lot of teams talked about it, but that just wouldn't make sense to me because with Fields starting to the year, you already have Rice and Worthy. I'm interested to see how that plays out. It just disgusts me, to be honest. That just does not look good at all. But shout out Kingsley Sumaia from the left guard, Jamal Charles. But
absolutely,
yeah. But yeah, I think Ruben Bain's the right pick here. Nice explosive D lineman. Make sure that one position on your defense or group is just booming.
Joe's got the Chiefs going Bain. I got the Chiefs going with Fano. I think, like I mentioned before, any pick would be a good pick. This is not a good roster, so they could use whoever they get. We're moving on to pick number 10. Joe had a trade. He had the Cleveland Browns moving back, and they're picking 10. I have the Giants staying put. They're picking at the 10 pick. And Joe, you beat me to my pairing. Caleb Downs is still available on my board. I also have the Ohio State duo. I have Caleb Downs and Spencer Fano headed to the Giants. You covered all the points. I mean, this defense is in need of a leader. They're in need of some run support. And Downs and Styles, they got that chemistry already. They got that leadership, and that's a kaboom again. That's if they make these 2 picks and these 2 guys on Friday morning are headed to New York, I would say that the Giants are the winners of the draft. This is a sick combo. Will it happen? Maybe not. Caleb Downs is seen as a really good player by a ton of teams, so I could see him not making it to the 10 pick. In my mock, obviously I have him falling that far, so I got him going number 10 to the Giants, and Buckeye duo would be awesome.
Yeah, the reason I had them jumping just because You have the Commanders who could take downs and the Chiefs who could take downs. I think the Giants know that, and I don't expect it costing them more than probably a third next year and then probably a fourth this year. It's not going to cost them much. I don't think it'll cost them that much. Obviously, you're going up to the sixth pick, but I think it just makes sense for the Giants to make sure you're leaving the draft with the two best players that you think are going to help your team. And I think if they could wait and still get Tyson, or not Tyson, well, I just spoiled my pick with the Browns take. Downs, if they take Downs at 10, that's still awesome. But yeah, the Browns, Jordan Tyson. Now, this is one I did do my research on. I think the Browns love Jordan Tyson. He's just so explosive. This is such a good pick for a guy that, Todd Monken's going to have an interesting deal this year. You got two running backs. I mean, Judkins is coming back from big injury. You have, like you said, Shadur Sanders probably quarterbacking the team. He seems very confident so far this offseason. You still have Jerry Jeudy, but I think by adding just another explosive weapon, I think obviously O-line, but they also added Elgton Jenkins, Titus Howard, Zion Johnson. They got busy on that offensive line. So I don't think they're going to attack that in the draft here. So go out, like Cole said, their defense is perfectly fine. Go out and boost another explosive weapon into your receiver room. And I think Jordan Tyson, the only guy left on the board, is going to fit what I think the Browns are trying to do perfectly.
Joe's got Jordan Tyson going to Cleveland. His brother plays for the Cavaliers. We could have a Tyson duo in Cleveland. That'd be pretty cool. We were just talking about a team with a good roster. Maybe not the quarterback situation figured out, but some pieces. Now we're talking about a team at pick 11 here with no pieces. This team is one of the worst I've ever seen. I think pretty easily the worst in the entire NFL, and it's the Miami Dolphins. They got a receiver room of Tutu Atwell, Jalen Tolbert, and Malik Washington. Their starting tight end is Greg Dulcich. Their starting quarterback is Malik Willis, who I like a lot, but he's never been a team's full-time starter. A-Chain is like the shining star of that whole team. And then defensively, nobody. I would say their best position right now is probably edge rusher. They got Chop Robinson, Kenneth Grant coming up the middle with Zach Sealer. But look at this secondary. I'm a huge NFL fan. I legitimately have not heard of a single guy in this secondary. Their cornerbacks are Darrell Baker, Storm Duck, and Jason Marshall. And their safeties are Lonnie Johnson and Dante Trader. I've heard of none of those guys. So John Eric Sullivan, their new GM, and Jeff Hafley, their new head coach, they got their hands full right here. Any pick would be a good pick. But like I mentioned, their secondary's brutes. I think they go and get a guy here in Mansour Delane, who would immediately be just a really good player for this Dolphins defense. He's my number one corner in the draft. He's a 4-year starter. He spent 3 years at Virginia Tech, his last year at LSU. He has 8 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles. And what I love about this guy is just how physical he is. He's only 6 feet tall, 190, but you wouldn't know it watching his highlights. He's not afraid to go hit somebody. Like I mentioned, 27 pass deflections. He just he played a full season at LSU last year. He allowed 13 catches total. That's it. 0 touchdowns. He could play zone. He could play man. I'm a big Mansour Delane fan, and I got him going to the Dolphins.
This one, because that's the thing. I have all the receivers off the board already. I just think that teams ahead just recognize that this team, like Cole said, needs a lot. I'm starting with the base. If there's one identity known for this team, they are going to run the football with their running back and
Can I guess?
Quarterback.
Are you going Miami to Miami here? Miami to Miami connection?
I am.
Nice.
Going with Francis here. I don't think he's going to play tackle. I think he's going to play guard for them. They have 2 solid tackles already, but like I said, you need one known identity for your team this year. It's going to be run the football. Not saying he might not end up as a tackle, but I think to start the season, if you want your best 5 guys out there, like you said, build the base of what your identity is going to be. If you're going to win any games this year, I like Malik Willis. I think he's going to turn some heads. But like I said, I think if there's receivers there, obviously they're going to take a receiver, I think. But in this situation, I think there's no. I think O line. It's O line or receiver. I'd be very shocked if they go somewhere else. Um, I just really think you need to build upon something that you can be good at this year, and what better way to do that than take a hometown hero in Francis Mauigo.
Yeah, he's their left guard, Jonas Savaianea, was I think PFF's worst graded starter out of any position last year. He was awful. So yeah, Maui Noah has been not rumored, but some people think he's a guard, some people think he's a tackle. To me, that's versatility. He can move inside and out. He could be a good piece. And like Joe said, building the base. Their GM, John Eric Sullivan, did say we want to build from the inside out. I didn't listen to that. Maybe I'm regretting that decision. But if they're building from the inside out, Maui Noah's the guy. But I had both offensive tackles gone at that point, so I got him going with who did I go with? Mansour Delane. All right, that'll take us into pick number 12. It's the Dallas Cowboys. They were picking at 12 last year. They're picking at 12 this year. And if I had to make a prediction, I would say that they're not going to be picking at 12 next year because I think they got a pretty good team. You got CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens still there. Dak Prescott, everyone knows he does his flip-floppy thing. He goes good year, bad year, good year, bad year. Last year he was bad, dealt with some injuries and stuff. This year I think he's going to go back to good. They got a good O-line. Javonte Williams impressed. Jake Ferg's a good option at tight end. In fact, they haven't added a single defensive or offensive starter because they just haven't had to. Now defense is a different story. They had Flus there last year. Didn't run a tight ship. He's out of town. They got a new guy in. And they've added some pieces. They added Rashawn Gary, Jalen Thompson, and Kobe Durant to the secondary. And they have 2 picks in the top 20 here. They have pick 12. They have pick 20. I have them going defense. And that is Ruben Bain, who's still available on my draft board. Ruben Bain was a guy who was projected to go in like the top 3, top 5 when the winter started. But he's kind of slid a little bit, just a tad, just a sue. But he's still a great player. He was a 3-year starter. He had 4 careers, forced fumbles, 21 career sacks. The big knock on him has been his size. He's 6'3", 265, but he's got those tiny little arms that people don't like. And I just think people are overthinking it. When you watch his tape, he pops. Now, one thing that he doesn't have going for him is in the last 20 years, nobody with arms his short has had a double-digit sack season ever. So he's going to have to be the outlier, but if there's going to be a guy to do it, it's going to be Ruben Bain. He's got great bend. He's fast. He's powerful. He's really, really good, and I think the Cowboys would be thrilled to pick him at number 12 overall.
So I have the Cowboys taking Mansour Delane here, corner, LSU. I just feel, you look at, like Cole said, this team is pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Offense, you really don't need to. Now, I wouldn't count them out. If there's a receiver there, I would love to see it happen.
Trio.
Lamb, Pickens, one of those 3. That'd be awesome. However, you have other needs, especially secondary-wise. I expect 3 names to possibly go through the Cowboys here. Obviously, I'm taking Delane. I think he's the best prospect available, best player available. Especially for man coverage, I think it's going to be a really good fit for them. But both Tennessee cornerbacks, Hood and what's the other? McCoy.
Jermad.
Yeah, McCoy, because didn't he have the ACL injury, right?
He didn't play at all in 2025. His last time he played in the game was 2024.
I think that's going to be very similar to how, like, Will Johnson, like last year.
He slid.
It's going to be, I think his story's going to be something similar, but not saying that we've seen those guys do really well. But I really would keep an eye on Hood to go here because he just fits that speedy Cowboys defense. He could really fit in with Deron Blaine and that secondary that's going on in Dallas there. I really think they need to find a corner. I think Delane provides more stability early on. It's the more safe pick, and I think for once that the Cowboys need to do is go somewhere safe here because you're going to need that help, especially in the secondary come later in the season. So I think they do. They get a great pick here, and Mansour Delane. Yeah,
So pick 12, we had a team that we think is going to be pretty good next year. Pick 13 is a team that we don't think they're going to be good. We know they're going to be good, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. They fleeced the Falcons. This is the Atlanta Falcons pick. We called it out last year. Everyone called it out. Dude, this is so dumb. What are you doing? And boy, does it look worse than ever. The guy that they just traded for, James Pierce, just last year, might not play a single down of football ever again. He tried to kill his girlfriend, and he got arrested, and things aren't looking good for him. But things are looking great for the Rams. You look at this team. I mean, you have the MVP, the reigning MVP, a great O-line, a great group of weapons, a really good front seven, and you add Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. You just stole both the Kansas City's corners. They're in a tremendous spot. I think they were the best team in football last year, and they're only going to get better. This is a really, really good team. With that being said, I got them going receiver. Makai Lemon out of USC. I think we're going LA to LA here. Now, they have some great weapons, but I think we're right at the top of the roller coaster with both of these guys, and I think we're going to come crashing down. Devontae Adams had a good fantasy season last year, but it was a lot of touchdowns. And if there's anything that fluctuates year over year, it's touchdowns. I think he's going to be 33 or 34 years old. He didn't have a ton of yards. He didn't have a ton of catches. Devontae Adams is only getting worse. And then your other receiver, who might be one of the best in the whole NFL, he's in rehab right now. He could, I mean, this is kind of like a Joe statement. We might have another Antonio Brown on our hands here. I mean, you don't know where he's going to be a year from now, 2 years from now. I think Makai Lemon would be a very savvy pick. You get ahead of the 8 ball on your receivers flying down the roller coaster. And, yeah, Sean McVay can do some really, really fun things with Lemon. I had him as my 1 at first, and then I switched it last second to wide receiver 2 because him and Jordan Tyson are just both so good. But, yeah, he's a football player. It's run after the catch. It's blocking on run plays. We know that the Rams like to run the football. And he has home run speed. He's got like a thicker build, so you wouldn't expect him to be so fast. But throw on the tape. I mean, he's blowing by DBs, whether it's on a go ball or even a catch and run opportunity. Makai Lemon's a dog, and I think that's a nasty trio for 2026. Devontae, Puka, Lemon.
That would be insane. See, I thought about this differently. If I had a receiver there, I would have thought about it. But I really think if you look back at those old Rams teams, right? Andrew Whitworth, Rob Hartenstein, you got those freakishly big, just great tackles. And that's when I was looking at Monroe Freeling. I'm like, wow,
Ooh.
This guy, a Ram build. You know what I mean? I think because you talked about the run game too, and I think especially with Kyron and Corum, we saw how they were used last year. They're going to need somebody more fresh just to block for them. Freeling plays both left and right tackle. That being versatile like that, Sean McVay is probably licking his chops right now. This guy, I think, would be a fantastic pick for them, especially just like you said. There is uncertainty with the receiving, but it's kind of like what I was talking about with what team was I talking about? Oh, the Dolphins, right? All right. What's the one sure thing? And they still have Devontae Adams. He's going to produce. So why not go with boosting something that's – and Stafford's a Hall of Famer. So go with something that's going to protect him and help him out at the same time. So I'm going Monroe Freeling here.
That's crafty, Joe. I like that one. And tackles, every year they go higher than we expect. I don't have it happening, but it's going to happen. Monroe Freeling, I really don't mind that pick at all. We're continuing a trend here, Jay, of teams that are picking high that might not be picking high in the future. We've got Jesse Minter, Declan Doyle, Lamar Jackson, and the Baltimore Ravens here at pick 14. They've had a busy offseason, but from the Max Crosby debacle all the way to the Trey Hendrickson signing, they've been in headlines. And to be honest, I don't think they're going to be making headlines with this pick, but it's going to be a really, really rock-solid pick. Your current starting left guard was a 7th-round pick 3 years ago. That's not cutting it. That's not good enough. I got them going with Vega Ioane, the left guard out of Penn State. First-year head coaches, they like to build that culture. They like to build that identity. and there's nobody better to do that than Vega Ioane. I'm a big Todd McShay guy. Shout out Todd McShay, his podcast. I listen to it every episode. And him and Steve Mensch, his co-host, they said that Vega Ioane is the best offensive lineman in the entire draft. But he doesn't play the best offensive line position. He's a guard, so he's not going to go higher than some tackles. But Vega Ioane is a beast. The Ravens, they got Derrick Henry, they got Lamar. We know they love to run the football. Vega Ioane absolutely is going to help with that. They've got the tackles, I don't want to say figured out, but Ronnie Stanley and Rosengarten are a pretty solid duo. You signed John Simpson to play right guard. If you had Ioane at left guard, that's a tremendous, tremendous offensive line. And I could see him going defense too, just because he's a defensive play caller. But yeah, I think Ioane is the guy in Baltimore.
Not gonna lie, I went a little weird here, a little spiffy. I debated. He was Yoabe, or however you say his name.
Ioane, yeah.
Pronounce it. Yeah, that was the guy. That was the other guy I was between. I went Kenyon Sadiq here,
Like it.
tight ends. So, what's interesting about that is obviously Mark Andrews. He's 30. He's not as old as other people in the league, but he's getting up there. You just lost your pristine other tight end, Isaiah Likely. Weren't able to get him back. I think this provides just another opportunity to go to get another receiver for Lamar. He just provides. I know I was telling Cole about this earlier with the Panthers with him. I really liked him to the Panthers just because, they proven year in year out they keep adding these receivers and it's helping Bryce Young. But I feel like for Lamar, adding another explosive tight end that you just lost, obviously you can go defense, your O-line, but I really think that this could be a really good pick for the Ravens if they were to go this route. Probably unlikely, but I really would like if they did this because I think it just maximizes Lamar's abilities, I feel like. So especially he works really well with Likely too. It's not obviously Andrews is going to be Mark Andrews, but I think this pick just would help that.
Yeah, well, you got Declan Doyle calling plays, and he just came from Loveland and Komet. They just took a tight end in round 1 last year, so he's used to that. And Sadiq is one of those guys. His hands are tremendous. He reminds me of Owen Young running routes out there because Owen, he was a little huskier back in the day, but man, that guy had some hands. That's how I feel about Sadiq. Yeah, if you're throwing him the ball, he's gonna catch it. And so I think Sadiq, you can have both of them out on the field at the same time. I thought about that as well. I ended up going with Ioane, but yeah, I think that's pretty realistic. But that takes us into pick 15, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they're in kind of a weird spot. You got Baker Mayfield, who's got 1 year left on his deal. You got a pretty good O-line, but they dealt with some injuries last year. They didn't play great. You lost Mike Evans. Chris Godwin's kind of trending downwards. Your defense didn't play as good as it typically does. A lot of fans wanted Todd Bowles gone, but he stuck around for another year. He's probably in the top 3 to 5 coaches on the hot seat going into the year, right?
Fully agree. He should have been fired last year.
I'm a Bulls guy. I like him. But if he is on the hot seat, I think he's going to take a defensive guy just because he's a defensive play caller. Now, I've not seen this guy being mocked to the Buccaneers nearly at all. But the Buccaneers always get weird. They took Ibuka last year when nobody thought that they would do that. You look at their 2 starting cornerbacks, it's Zion McCollum and Benjamin Morrison. Their slot guy is Jacob Parrish. It's one of the weaker positions on their team. I could see them going edge rusher, whether it's a Keldrick Falk or an Akeem Messidor. But I got them going weird. I got them going funky. I got them going risky. Jermod McCoy, the cornerback out of Tennessee. Like I said, it's a risky pick. He hasn't played a down since 2024. But, man, when he's on the field, he's really, really good. He spent 2 years at Oregon State. He spent 1 year, or I guess technically 2 years at Tennessee. But he had 6 interceptions. He's still only 20 years old, so he's young. He can come back from that injury with no problem. He did have a pro day, so he's good now. Like, the injury's not going to carry him into 2026. He ran a 4.38 40, so that's really, really solid. He's big. He's physical. He's handsy with the hands, though. 8 penalties in 2024. Watch out for those PIs. But, yeah, This is my first. I've gone pretty chalk here throughout the whole draft. This is my first weird one, but it's Jermon McCoy to the Buccaneers. Sometimes you just got that feeling. You got that feeling.
On the Plums.
Mm-hmm.
I have them also going defense here. I have them more going because this is as you think about it, this team is still obviously didn't make the playoffs last year. Their head coach just not a Todd Bowles guy anymore. They let that season. They had it by the ball in their hand and they just let it go. So like you said, they always get weird. I think this is another potential pick. I have them going Akeem Mesidor from Miami, another edge guy here. The interesting thing about him, he's one of those old ass college players. He's 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to fit in perfectly with what the Bucs got going on. He's going to go there, play right away, get in the mix, and I think that's a perfect fit for a team that's looking for somebody that's going to go in there right away with experience, a lot of experience in college, and is going to go in there and hopefully help them out right away, especially on the edge.
Yeah, the Hassan Reddick experiment was kind of a failure. They really don't have a ton of pass rushers, and that's what Todd Bowles likes to do. He likes to send blitzes, get after the quarterback. And right now you have Al-Quadin Muhammad and Yaya Diaby at outside linebacker. Now inside you're pretty good. You got Vita Vea and Kalijah Cansey and A'Shawn Robinson. But in terms of outside linebackers, outside pass rushers, you don't have a lot of that. So edge rusher is absolutely in play. And that leads us to pick 16, the New York Jets. This is their second first-round pick. Their second of 4 picks in the top 44. They might not take any quarterbacks, but again, we love what they've been doing. If they land even like 2 or 3 of those top 44 picks, they're in an amazing situation. They might even win some ball games this year. Now they play in a tougher division, so I'm not thinking wild card for this team, but who knows? Geno Smith's proved us wrong before. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the New York Jets had 0 interceptions in all of 2026 or 2025. And if you're looking at the cornerback market right now, there's not really a guy. I have both McCoy and Delane gone. But there are some safeties. There's 2 of them that are still available that are pretty good. You got EMW, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, but you also got Kenyon Sadiq's running mate on the other side of the football, Dylan Thieneman. And that's why I have the New York Jets taken here at 16. Thieneman, I can rave about this guy for on and on. I think he's a little bit more closer to Downs than he is to EMW, just being honest. He has 300 career tackles over 3 seasons. The guy is just always has his nose in the play. 8 interceptions, 13 pass deflections, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He's a playmaker. And I think what's really appealing about him is in his 3 years of college, he's played in 3 different systems. His first 2 years were at Purdue. He played for a defensive coordinator his first year. That dude got fired. He played for another defensive coordinator. He went as playing like a ball hawk center fielder, and then later in his career, he moved into this like hybrid kind of linebacker role. He had a 9.67 relative athletic score. He's athletic. He ran a 4.36 40. People that he's meeting with say he's intelligent. He's got a great personality. He's a leader. This is one of my favorite players in the entire draft. I hope and pray that he falls to 25 or the Bears come up to move up for him. Dylan Thieneman's going to be a baller. And you go and you pair him with Minka. You pair him with Nashawn Wright, who's a ball hawk. You pair him with Arvell Reese or David Bailey at the 2 pick. Now this defense is getting somewhere. Aaron Glenn played corner in the NFL. He knows you got to get some good ones, some good guys in the secondary. Dylan Thieneman would be a home run pick here.
I also debated that one. The Jets, it's such a tough one here because I think they could also trade down in this pick. Maybe a team that's looking for a receiver. There's limited options there. The Eagles are going to be looking for somebody. If A.J. Brown's supposedly supposed to get traded, right? I could see the Eagles jumping here. A lot of teams may be making the jump here. I think the Jets stay put, but I could see this trade candidate. I have them taking Colton Hood.
Nice.
I think just another, like I talked about him earlier a little bit, just he's so flashy. And I think Aaron Glenn just loves players like that. He loves guys that are going to get out there, get after it. And I think this, not saying he's Sauce Gardner, but he has the potential abilities to maybe make up for what they lost in that Sauce Gardner trade, and looking for their next lockdown corner. So I think, like I said, they get Bailey and Hood. I think 2 solid picks for the Jets right there. a lot of people have been talking about, oh, Ty Simpson. Really, not many teams are looking for a quarterback right now. So why waste it? If you're going to do trade back down, get some more picks, and then go from there. If you, I guess, fine, this is your guy, Ty Simpson, sure, go for it. I don't think that's the case. I think you could let him trickle down a little more and then go for the punch.
Well, for the Jets, not only do they have 4 picks in the top 44 this year, they have 4 picks in the top 2 rounds next year. They have 3 firsts next year and a second. So they're in a good position to go get Arch Manning or Dante Moore, 2 amazing quarterbacks. And like I said, maybe they win too many games. Maybe they're not picking in the top 5 next year, but they got 3 first-round picks. They can put together a hefty package to trade into that top spot and go get whoever they want. And like I said, the pieces are already in place. They're building the defense. They already have 2 bookend tackles. They took Fashanu in the first round 2 years ago, Armand Membu in the first round last year. You got some good receivers. You got 2 more second-rounders. This Jets team, I love what they're doing. I don't love their head coach, Aaron Glenn, but I think this front office is doing a really good job. And, yeah, I think they're in a really good spot. All right, let's head into pick number 17, the Detroit Lions. Okay, pick 17. Yeah, our clothes changed. What about it? You saw nothing. We got the Detroit Lions. They're actually our first NFC North team on the clock. That's right. They got a 4th place schedule next year, but they do have some holes that they need to fill. Do they go with an edge rusher to pair with Aiden Hutchinson? Their offense didn't look great, and they lost Taylor Decker. Maybe do they take an offensive lineman? I think so. I think they are going to take an offensive lineman. Joe, this guy is off your board already, but he is available on mine, and that's Monroe Freeling, the left tackle out of Georgia. Now, the criticism with him is he's only a 1-year starter. A lot of teams, similar to quarterbacks, not as much, but they want to see multiple years as a starter to show that you have experience and that you're able to handle an NFL edge rusher. So that's like the one critique on Freeling, but he has a 9.99 relative athletic score. He killed it at the combine. He was rising up the draft boards. He was a projected 2nd-round pick in like January, February, but he keeps creeping him. Joe, you had him going, what, 11, I think? Let's go check.
13 to the Rams.
Yeah, 13 to the Rams. I got him going 17 here to Detroit. His calling card is the run game. He's a really, really, really good run blocker. He's the best run blocker in the whole draft class, and that's something that Detroit really likes to do. Obviously, they got Jahmyr Gibbs. Isaiah Pacheco is his running mate now. And, yeah, right now your starting tackle is you have Penei Sewell at left tackle and Larry Borum is your right tackle.
Larry Borum. Yeah.
If you draft Freeling or even like a Caden Proctor, you slide them in left tackle and Sewell can go back to his natural position. So I think tackle's going to be the move here. I was really going back and forth if it was going to be Freeling or Proctor. I ended up landing on Freeling. So yeah, it's Freeling to Detroit.
I also have another guy that's not available on Cole's board, but on mine, I have them taking Spencer Fano out of Utah, the tackle. I think him, like you said, dominates the run game. They're very similar. I really don't see them going anywhere else here. It's very, I think, apparent that they need to address the O-line after losing Taylor Decker and then the Rags last year. So this is a must. They need a guy in the trenches, and I think Dan Campbell recognizes that, and they're going to go out and get the tackle.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. All right, next pick is another NFC North team. It's the Minnesota Vikings. And as we pull up their depth chart here, if you guys have been a listener of the channel, you guys know how much I love Brian Flores. And I hate to love him because, again, he's in the Bears division, but that guy calls a hell of a defense. But it wasn't as tremendous as usual last season. They took a little bit of a and that's why they didn't make the playoffs after their 14-3 season in 2024. Now, right now, your pass rushers are Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner, and you also have Jonathan Grenard, who's really, really good, but he is on the trade block just because of some contract issues. So I think they're going to go replenish that edge rusher. Now, if you're looking at the board here, who are some edge rushers we got available? We got Keldrick Falk, Cassius Howell, TJ Parker. I haven't taken none of those guys. I have him going with Akeem Mesidor, the edge rusher out of Miami. Now, he is old. He's a 6-year starter. He's 25. He'll be 26 during his rookie season.
something that's kind of notable about this Vikings pick is they fired their GM in like February or March, I think it was. So they have an
Yep.
interim GM stepping in, and I saw a report that came out that said the Vikings this year will look to draft a player based on college production, not traits or projections. And if you're looking for college production, that's a key Messidor right there. 34 and a half sacks, 12 and a half in 2025 with 4 forced fumbles. Now, to me, I don't love Messidor. I would prefer maybe some other guys available just because of his age, his injury history, and he just looks kind of. What did I write here? He doesn't do anything exceptionally well. He looks like he's got like a 30-pound like weighted vest on him at all times. He looks just sluggish to me. But if anyone's going to turn an edge rusher into a beast, it's going to be Brian Flores. And just the name, like Akeem Messidor, I could just like when I close my eyes, I could see that like on the back of a Vikings jersey. He just sounds like a Viking. So I went with some vibes. I got that feeling. Akeem Messidor to the Vikings.
Sounds legit. Yeah, I went. So there's another guy that's available on my board, not Cole's. I went with Dylan Thieneman from
Nice.
Oregon here, safety. I just, for the first time in a while, they have a gaping hole at safety
It's
without
gaping.
Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
And what better way, like you said, Brian Flores gets a dude there in the secondary. This team's going to be very interesting this year. I think Kyler Murray's going to start. They could do really well. I think the defense has to, like you said, they kind of need to pick it up. I think that was the reason they weren't as good last year. Obviously, their offense was pretty bad, and I think that'll improve over time. But I think what's his name knows that. O'Connell, he's an offensive guy. He knows how to run a tight ship. But yeah, I really think getting a safety here that, not saying he's Harrison Smith, but get another young guy who can be there for a while, and I think that's a great way to approach it.
And that's another guy that goes back to that point of college production. If you want college production, Thieneman might be the poster boy for that. He's an early declaree, meaning he only played college for 3 seasons. He was a 3-year starter. He has 302 career tackles, 8 interceptions, 10 tackles for loss, 13 pass deflections, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He's all over the field. So that's another one of those guys that would fit that mold. And he's been a guy that's been heavily linked to Minnesota. Like you mentioned, Harrison Smith's out of there. They got Josh Metellus at strong safety, Jay Ward at free safety. So, yeah, Thieneman could definitely be a plug-and-play guy there immediately. So Joe has him going with Thieneman. I got him going with Messidor. Next pick is the Carolina Panthers. Now, as you look at their roster, one of the things that they really tried to do a couple years back was really bolster that O-line for Bryce Young. When your quarterback's 5'11", like 6 feet tall-ish, you're going to want him to have some good protection. And he has had that for the most part. But unfortunately, their star left tackle, Ikem Ekwonu, tore his patellar tendon in the wild card game last year against the Rams, and he's out for all of 2026. It's the same thing that Trapillo for the Bears had. Now, they did bring in Rasheed Walker to a 1-year deal, but I think they're going to want to generate maybe a little bit of competition. So with that being said, I have them taking a left tackle, and that is Caden Proctor, the left tackle out of my university out of Alabama. This was kind of the pick that I was flip-flopping, but like whoever the Lions didn't take at 17, I was going to have the Panthers take at 19. Now their defense is an issue too. Some people have them going maybe like Kenyon Sadiq, maybe another weapon or a receiver. I don't think so. I think that last year they took Tet McMillan in round 1, and the year before that they took Xavier Legette in round 1. I'd be very surprised if they took another pass catcher 3 years in a row in round 1. So to me, it's defense or O-line. I went O-line.
Yeah, I agree here. I have them, like you said, I could see them going O-line here. I debated Proctor, but I had them going Aiden McDonald, tackle out of Ohio State defense. I think just their offense is getting their footing. It's kind of like the Vikings situation, right? Offensive head coach and Dave Canales, like their offense is going to figure it out. That was part of the reason. But they're also really sneakily good on defense in games that they shouldn't have been in. They were making plays when they needed to at the right time. And I think getting another big, bulky pass rusher, just on the D line like that, guy that's gonna win you trenches on the defensive side of the football. It's tough because this guy, I've seen him like down, I've seen him as high here. It's like I debated this one for the Chargers as well, but I think I really wanted Keon Sadiq here, and I don't know why I took him to the Ravens. I just kind of Isaiah Likely's gone, get Lamar another guy, but I really like this pick if they were to get McDonald here. I think he'd fit perfect right next to Derek Brown.
Yeah, as for edge rusher, they drafted Nick Scorton last year in round 2, so you got him. You still got Derek Brown, who's kind of a hybrid edge rusher defensive tackle, and they made one of the biggest splash signings of all of free agency with Jalen Phillips. So I don't think edge rusher is as big of a need as some people might think. They signed Devin Lloyd to play inside linebacker. They're making some moves on the defense. I really don't hate what Carolina's doing, and they're in a really good spot to add another really, really good player. Okay, next up, pick number 20. That is the Dallas Cowboys. But I finally have my first trade. And it's a team that has 7 picks in the top 100, including 4 third-round picks. They have 4 third-round picks. They have plenty of ammo to come up and make a move. And if you don't know who it is yet, it's the Joe. Do you know?
4 third-round picks.
4 third-round picks. 7 in the top 100. 2 first-round picks.
Yeah. JETS.
Miami Dolphins. I got the Miami Dolphins. They have pick number 30 from the Jalen Waddle trade. I have them moving up to 20 with Dallas for a player that Todd McShay talked about in his podcast that sneakily they might like. And as you pull up their depth chart here, now I had them taking Mansour Delane with their first round pick. That's a defensive player. Now I'm coming over to the offensive side of the football. They need some weapons. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon, I think would be a really, really nice add for this Miami Dolphins team. They're rumored to like him. Their current starting tight end is Greg Dulcich. That's probably the worst starting tight end in all of football. If you're able to move up for Kenyon Sadiq here at pick 20, that's kind of the reason why I did it. If he's able to slide, a lot of people think he might go 19 to the Panthers. If he slides past 19, I think that's a perfect opportunity to come jump up and grab him. And Sadiq and Delane would be a really fun first-round pairing for the Dolphins. And they'll be starting off the Jeff Hafley regime on the right foot.
Don't mind that. I have them doubling down on defense, actually, the Cowboys here. I had them taking Mansour Delane earlier, corner. I think they addressed the D-line here, too. I had them taking Caleb Banks from Florida. Another D tackle here. I think he just fit in perfectly with Williams, Clark. They got Gary on the edge there. I really think by adding another bolster to that defensive line, your offense is going to do the job. You want to make sure there's no hole on this defense. You address secondary, and then you address the D-line here. They have Otito Ogobania there right now. I don't know who the hell that is, so you need to address that. And I think Banks is just he's like freakishly big, right? Yeah,
he's like a wall. McDonald, who you had going at pick 19, he's like a donut. Caleb Banks is like a wall. He's like built. He gets after the quarterback.
And I think I know I talk about also many other podcasts when we've talked about the draft. First come, first serve for the receivers. I think defensive tackle here, Panthers, and it kind of could go back and forth. Banks is a force. So I think it's a lot of people I don't know, because I think he's had, I remember reading it, injury history or something like that. But I mean, when you have a guy this big, especially, he just screams Dallas Cowboy. That's why I'm just like, all right, no, this guy gives a Cowboy vibe. He's going to fit that, just the beast the Cowboys are looking for. So throw him in the D-line right next to Williams. And Kenny Clark. That's right. He reminds me a lot of Kenny Clark. So I think that's why I like this pick a lot. But yeah, Caleb Banks.
Joe has Cowboys staying put, taking Banks. I have the Dolphins moving up and taking Sadiq. And one last note on him. Those Dolphins weapons are so bad that I think if they take a guy like Kenyon Sadiq, he could have like a 2024 Brock Bowers type of season where he just gets absolutely fed. Again, it's is it likely? Probably not, but it's like this was kind of my dream scenario pick, like my my guilty pleasure pick, I guess you could call it. But speaking of Joe's guilty pleasure, it's his favorite NFL team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, here at pick number 21. And their roster is actually in a surprisingly good spot. I thought they were a little worse off than they actually are. But you add Michael Pittman Jr., you add Jaquan Brisker and Jamel Dean to that secondary. They've always had that pass rush, and their offensive line has always been pretty good. It's always just been about figuring out the quarterback each year and figuring out your weapons. Now they figured out their weapons with Pittman and DK. Do I have them figured out the quarterback? Do I have them going Ty Simpson? I do not. I don't think they take Ty Simpson. Do I think they should? Yeah, I think he'd be great for 1 year under Rodgers.
Will Howard.
Will Howard. Come on. Ty Simpson, have him sit for a year behind Rodgers. That'd be a great decision.
Rodgers ain't coming back.
You think he's retiring?
I think he's done.
Wow. Anyways, with that being said, maybe this guy who they're going to take is going to entice him. Hey, come on back. We're going to get you some protection. I got him going with a tackle, Blake Miller out of Clemson. Now, a lot of Steelers fans are upset with their left tackle, Broderick Jones. They have their right tackle, Troy Fautanu, who's pretty good. But, yeah, a lot of fans are not happy with Broderick, who's on the left side. I have all the first-round left tackles off the board. Right now, there's only right tackles left. So with that being said, I got him going Blake Miller, who's a 4-year starter at Clemson. He was freshman All-ACC. Then he was third-team All-ACC. Then his last 2 years at 24 and 25, he was first-team All-ACC. And this guy's agile. He's pretty skinny for an offensive tackle, 6'6", 315. And, yeah, Pittsburgh gets weird. I got him going weird, Blake Miller.
So before we get into the pick here, I think 100% O-line, without a doubt. They're taking an O-lineman here. Roster-wise, surprisingly really good.
Yeah.
We're able to add Jamel Dean, Brisker. On the defensive side of the football, offense, you add Michael Pittman in a trade. Rico Dowdle as well. Like, they definitely added some pretty solid pieces, and, like, you have to add an O-lineman here. This guy's already gone for Cole. I apologize for botching your name, but you're going to have to help me out with this one from Penn State.
Vega Ioane?
Yeah, Vega Ioane. This guy, when you look at him, you're like, okay. There's a few guys. He looked like the Pouncey brothers a little bit, kind of little. I think this guy, his frame,
a little thicker in the
kind of
belt, little belly, little bellage.
Yeah. Is able to move in the run game. You know, it's they just lost. Who would they have at guard? It was Siumalo.
He's in Arizona now.
Yeah. So he's gonna fill the hole right away. I think this would be a home run pick if he's able to fall to 21 for the Steelers here. 100% going to be an O-lineman here. I have them taking Vega Ioane.
Yeah, I really like that pick because their current left guard is Spencer Anderson, who was a 7th-round pick a couple years ago. That's not blowing anybody's balls off. In the AFC North, you got to be strong up front. Spencer Anderson is not strong.
He's going to do that. Penn State guy, too, you know. Just bring him home.
Yeah, I feel like Penn State guys have a high hit rate in the NFL. All right, next up, we got the Los Angeles Chargers, formerly known as the San Diego Chargers. That's a little hint as to who I'm taking. Also, their head coach, Jim Harbaugh, back in the day used to be the head coach for the University of San Diego. Now, there's no University of San Diego first-round pick players, but there is a San Diego State first-round pick player. Their current cornerbacks are Tarheeb Still, who is a former 5th-round pick, and Cam Hart, who is a former 5th-round pick. So they're not strong at cornerback. I got them taking Chris Johnson, the cornerback out of San Diego State. Now, on this website, he is listed as, 56th. So Mock Draft Central IO is not giving Chris Johnson a lot of respect. He's been rising up the draft boards, 4 interceptions in 2025, 5 forced fumbles. He plays a physical brand of football. We know a Harbaugh can appreciate that. And, I got a San Diego State kid going to the formerly known San Diego Chargers.
Now, Cole, we don't do this often, but we have the same pick here.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. I was so originally, you look at a team like the Chargers. I debated again another guy like Jermod McCoy, who hasn't played much. Chargers are definitely a team that could take a risk, but how I mentioned earlier, I think McCoy is one who falls. I really do think the San Diego State kid here has a chance. Like you mentioned, corner's a desperate need right now. I debated Manuel McNeil-Warren, safety from
Me
Toledo
too.
here.
I also debated that.
But like I just looked at his name and like where he's from, and just reminds me of like somebody who's just gonna fall in the draft like every year. But yeah, I have them. I also have them taking Mr. Johnson. Like I said, hopefully it's the right Johnson. But yeah, I think like you said, it would just be. I think he fits the Chargers. What the Chargers have done on defense for a while now. He's very, very quick. And I think that's just going to fit what their mold is at corner. So he's going to make an impact right away, I think.
Now, Joe, I was just looking back. We're at pick 22 right now. That's the first pick that we agree on since the Kaboom Again debacle of Downs and Styles. So it's been a while.
No, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, as more and more I read, I think Downs is going to go 5. Or like I think the Giants end up with Downs regardless, whether it's 5 or 10. But I think we hammered that right on the nail.
That was 6. So that was the first time in a while that we've agreed on a pick. Next up, pick 23. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I think A.J. Brown is as good as gone. I think a lot of people think that. So maybe wide receiver is the pick here. Could totally see that. Whether they go an Omar Cooper or a Denzel Boston. I do not have them doing that. I have them actually improving the offensive line. Lane Johnson's heading into year 14. So his time in the NFL is coming to a close. I think he can mentor this guy for maybe a year. Injuries always happen too. Guys move around, so this guy could also play year 1. It's Max Ihenacho out of Arizona State. This kid is my favorite story in the whole draft. He's 6'6", 330. He moved from Nigeria at age 13, never played high school football. His first football experience came in junior college. He was actually playing basketball at the junior college. The basketball coach, the football coach was like, dude, you got to come out for the football team. You'd be awesome. He was awesome. Ends up transferring to Arizona State, was a 2-year starter there. This guy is so light on his feet. He has a 9.9 relative athletic score. I wrote in my notes here, this guy could walk on a path of saltine crackers and keep them all intact. That's how light on his feet this guy is. He's a really fun watch. One of my favorite players in the whole draft, and I think the Eagles would be a really, really good landing spot for him. Max Ihenacho.
I went chalk here. A.J. Brown is good as gone. I actually think this is pretty much close to a lock. Omar Cooper's going to the Eagles here. I just feel, especially Eagles try and look for winners year in, year out. They go from Georgia a lot.
Yeah.
This guy's a fucking winner. Like, it's just, sorry, pardon my language, but he just came from the team. He's in one of the most high-knit programs there is in the country, I think. And like I said, you're losing A.J. Brown. You replace him with a younger, smooth version. I think he'll fit in right next to Devonta Smith. Like, size-wise, I think perfectly fine, So I think this would be perfect. I think it's a match made in heaven. Omar Cooper to the Eagles.
All right, next up, pick 24. It's back to Cleveland. They had pick 6. They got pick 24 from that Jaguars trade last year when the Jaguars moved up from pick 5 to pick 2 to take Travis Hunter. What's up?
Who'd you have first?
I had him going Maui Noah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, you did take tackle. Never mind. So we'll have the same pick here.
So I had him. A lot of people think, if they take tackle at 1, they're probably going to go receiver at the other. So I had him going tackle round 1. So I have them going receiver here. It's a guy that I thought you were just going to name. You ended up going the Omar Cooper route. I'm going to end up going with the Denzel Boston route. To me, Boston, he's going to be a good NFL receiver. He's a step below those top 3 guys, Lemon, Tyson, and Tate. But I do think Boston is pretty solid. My player comp for him is Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce got paid in free agency, but I don't know if Boston's going to get that much dough. But he's 6'4", 210. He has 2 straight seasons of 60 catches and 800 yards. He had 11 touchdowns in 2025, so he can be a red zone guy. And receiver is just a really big need for Cleveland. Right now, their guys are Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, and Isaiah Bond. That could definitely be improved upon. And I think Denzel Boston would be a really, really nice add for this team and whoever's throwing the football for him.
Yeah, so I had him taking Jordan Tyson earlier at 10 after a trade down. I've been taking hometown hero, Caden Proctor, right here. I think, like you said, regardless, they're going to need to address both of these positions, kind of like we talked about. But I think, like you said, they added Titus Howard. I don't think his spot's in jeopardy. Elton Jenkins, Zion Johnson, Tevin Jenkins. Like, they have, like, guys that used to be good, and then there's DeJuan Jones. And it's like, okay, like, 4th-round pick, 2023, I think his time's looming. Go out, get a big force like Proctor, another guy who just knows how to win, bring him in there, and I think there's no really issue. Like, I know Cole had him. I think receiver is the higher need in the beginning, but the hardest thing for the Browns here is hopefully he falls. That's why he's still left on my board. Regardless, here they're going to end up with tackle and receiver at some point. But Proctor would actually be a home run pick for them. Because that's a hard thing. You could see Proctor going as high as maybe them taking him at 6.
Weirder things have happened.
Yeah. So, like, that's the thing. You never know in years like this. So, if they're able to get him at 24, I think that'd be fantastic.
Hold on 1 second, please.
Good.
It's time. It's a weird feeling, Joe.
Leave.
Pick 25. This is uncharted territory. This hasn't happened in a while. Our Chicago Bears are picking at pick 25 in the NFL draft. Hopefully we're in the 30s next year, but this was definitely a step in the right direction. And I think a guy that's going to help us hopefully get into that 30s is going to be a defensive player. Offense had a lot of success. The defense, not so much last year. Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen, they've talked about all offseason, we're going to fix the defense, we're going to get things right. And I think, the Bears had a lot of interceptions last year, a lot of takeaways. Really the issue was the run defense. We were allowing a ton of rushing yards, and yeah, so I think that's going to be priority number 1 in the draft, and a guy that guards the run better than, I don't want to say everyone in this class, but he's up there. It's Keldrick Falk, the edge rusher out of Auburn. I'm a Roll Tide guy, I know, but I am a big fan of Falk. Now, your current starters at defensive end are Montez Sweat. He's your guy. He's your number 1. But then that number 2 spot, you kind of rotate between Austin Booker and Dio, who's coming off of an ACL tear. Dennis Allen likes to rotate guys through, so I think if you add Keldrick Falk to this rotation, that would be a really, really nice start. He's 6'6", 285. He was born in September of 2005, so Joe, you're actually 9 months older than this guy. He's one of the youngest players in the draft. So he doesn't have to be a stud for us this year, but we're drafting for the future. And I think he can really blossom. A lot of fans don't want him because he had 2 sacks in 2025, but he's a 3-year starter. He had 7 sacks in 24, and the run game is more of his calling card. But again, he's only 20 years old. I think there's plenty of time for him to develop a pass rush game, and I think a lot of Bears fans would be upset with this pick. On the other hand, I'd be happy with Keldrick Falk if he was headed to the Windy City here in 2026.
I debated that, and where I am going later, I fully agree with that. I think that would be a home run pick. I went with Peter Woods, Clemson tackle. Regardless, it's going to be defense here. I know we talked about that. I think he like, I was reading, but this was another one I did some research on, but he was rated the highest DT, right? I'm pretty sure he was.
Oh
in
yeah,
the combine.
He was a high prospect, 3-year starter out of Clemson. He's always been like a guy that people talked about like how people do like the way too early 1st-round picks. He was a guy.
He's always up.
He was a guy last year that people were picking to go in like the top 10. Now Clemson had a bit of a meltdown season last year, I would say, right? So a lot of those guys kind of slid down the board. But yeah, Woods is he's
potential's there. Like, I know we've talked about many. You missed out on Jalen Carter and all that. This is your perfect opportunity to go get a guy that has the potential of being like obviously not saying Aaron Donald. That's extreme. But a guy like that, where it's like, why not take the chance? Who can make an impact right away? Who can make an impact for a while? And I just hope we're not used to having, like I said, first round picks like this late either. We're pretty up there in the draft, but 25th, I think you could get a home run pick here in Peter Woods. That being said, though, I do think Falk, like Cole mentioned, younger, he's gonna fit in exactly where I have him going a few picks later. But I think Peter Woods would be absolute phenomenal pick for the Bears here at 25.
Yeah, a lot of Bears fans want Emmanuel McNeil-Warren as well, which I think he'd be a really good ad. I think he'd be a decent ad. He's not better than Thieneman. But right now, you lost a ton of safeties in free agency. You lost Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, and Gardner Johnson. So I do think we add a safety in this draft, but I think it's going to come on day 2. I think we have 2 seconds and a third. I think one of those 3 picks will be used on a safety. Joe has him going D-line. I got him going D-end. We're on the same page here. That'll take us into pick 26, the Buffalo Bills. They've had a pretty busy offseason. DJ Moore, they make a big trade for. They have a new head coach, Joe Brady. And they've added some pieces on defense. I just mentioned Gardner Johnson. They also added Bradley Chubb to that pass rushing room. And once you get into this mid to late 20s range, these teams, they're not really picking for need so much. They're picking for luxury. They're getting a little luxurious. And I got them taking a luxurious pick here. Typically, first-year head coaches like to take the position that they call plays for. Joe Brady's an offensive play caller. I did think that maybe they go receiver, but they have more. They're paying Palmer some money. They got Shakir, Keon Coleman, Taylor Ann, so that they do have a ton of options at receiver. I don't know if they muddy the waters again there. So I haven't seen too many people make this pick. But with that being said, with the 26th pick, I have the Buffalo Bills selecting Caleb Lomu, the left tackle out of Utah. Your starting left tackle right now is Dion Dawkins, who's entering year 10. Lomu, he's versatile. He can move around, so whether you want to play him inside at guard or just have him be Dawkins' backup for a first couple years, I think that would be a really nice pick for Buffalo here at pick 26. And, he grabs Spencer Fano's running mate, Caleb Lomu, at pick 26.
I went like Coleman, like the luxury pick. They could pretty much go with whatever here. I have them going linebacker C.J. Allen from Georgia. Kind of just looking at their defense, like Matt Milano, where did he go?
That's a great one. Hit the Googs here. Matt Milano went to Boston College.
No, I'm saying, is he still with the Bills?
Oh,
I think he is.
Let's pull up their depth chart. He is no longer a Bill.
Free agent still. He's a free agent.
Why is no one grabbing that guy? Go get Milano. Dude, he was one of the league's best linebackers.
They did get Bradley Chubb, like you mentioned, but I think out on the outside, obviously, you have Greg Rousseau and Bradley Chubb. I think that's great. Inside linebackers, though, Dorian Williams, Terrell Bernard, it's not anything. It's like just and that's why I think you bring in a speedster who just knows. Anybody from the Georgia defense just knows how to play football, but like their position, they're great. And I think C.J. Allen here would just be a nice boost. If they didn't get DJ Moore, obviously be talking receiver core. They obviously still could go receiver core here, but Keon Coleman's at your 4. You got Taylor Ann at 5, so it's like you have enough depth there for now. So totally could see offensive line, but I think you go linebacker here. Boost that defense because, like you said, I know you thought more of like, all right, offensive coach now, getting an offensive player. I think it's a little diff here. He knows his offense, and he already got his guy, and I think adding a nice linebacker here would be perfect.
Yeah, and C.J. Allen his calling card is his leadership and his ability to stuff the run and be in the right place. And guys like that typically don't go very high. But it's guys like that play for winning football teams and make winning plays. And that's why you see a team like the Cincinnati Bengals last year take Shamar Stewart, who had 4 career sacks over 3 seasons, and they can't win football games. But you got these other teams like the Bills taking a player like C.J. Allen that makes winning plays, that just plays the right brand of football. I really don't hate that pick at all. Okay, Joe, it's time.
The trade?
We got another trade. It's the 49ers. They're at pick 27 right now, but they only have, I think, 5 or 6 total picks in the draft. They're towards the bottom in terms of total picks. I think they're going to move back, try and get some more assets, get some more guys, because they are one of the older teams in the league. And I actually got them moving up with a division foe. That's right. You gotta know who it's going to be, right, Joe?
The Cardinals and the Hawks, and I'm going to go to the Cardinals.
It's the Arizona Cardinals, moving up to pick 27. It's been rumored. We made it last year. We talked about Jackson Dart going to the Giants. I'm doing it this year with the 27th pick in the NFL draft. The Arizona Cardinals get their quarterback of the future, Ty Simpson. Now, you just hire your offensive play calling head coach, Mike LaFleur. Your current quarterbacks are Jacoby Brissett, who's actually holding out right now because of a contract dispute, not really being talked about. You signed Gardner Minshew to a short-term deal. Ty Simpson could be the guy in Arizona. Now, I watched him play every game of every start this season. I go to Alabama. He's my peer. He's my classmate. And so a lot of people might think that I'm biased, but no. Ty Simpson is my quarterback too. He comes with a lot of risk. He's a one-year starter, only 15 career starts. He went 11-4 in those starts, but he sat for 3 years behind Bryce Young and Jalen Milroe. And he was one of the best. He was probably the best quarterback in the country through those first probably 8 weeks of the season. He's an elite processor, both pre-snap and post-snap, whether it's calling out coverages, making changes at the line, or just making the right read in a passing play. If you're throwing a 4-man rush at him and he's getting a clean pocket, he is going to tear you up. Now, it's when he's under pressure and here's what he'll do. He starts getting happy feet. He's like, oh my God, what do I do? So if you're able to get pressure on him and you blitz him, he's not going to do well. But if you give him a clean pocket, he could be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, they do not have a clean pocket. They have Paris Johnson, who's been okay at left tackle. They don't have a right tackle. So it's tough for me to distinguish how good Ty Simpson's going to be. It's a very similar situation to Mendoza. Mendoza's playing in a division with Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and the Denver Broncos, who are fantastic. If Ty Simpson heads to the NFC West and he has to play twice against the reigning champs, Seahawks, twice against the Super Bowl 61 champs, Los Angeles Rams, and twice against the 49ers, that's a really tough ask. So it's going to be an uphill battle, but I think Ty Simpson, if you pair him with LaFleur, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, he's got a shot. I would prefer him going here than Cleveland or New York. So Arizona, Ty Simpson, treat him well, man.
Nice pick there. So 49ers, interesting here. Dress the offense really here. Obviously grab Mike Evans, Christian Kirk. Totally could see them going O-line here. It's just a lot of names. It's just like, how the hell are you? Like, you just look at the names. You're like, how are you playing NFL right now? But on the other hand, you kind of mentioned how they're one of the older teams. This is where Falk goes right here. Like Cole mentioned, very young. I think he'd fit in perfect. Right next to Nick Bosa, right next to all these guys on the D-line. Super quick edge, just going to rock your world, especially who's their defensive coordinator.
They got a new guy now. Saleh moved on. Let's check it out. Their new defensive coordinator is Raheem Morris, the former Atlanta Falcons head coach.
And he took James Pierce last year. Love that D-line. Unfortunately, that was just a terrible pick now. But part of the reason why he fired because he gave his first-round pick for a guy that got arrested. But, I think we talked about Folk earlier, just so young. The Bears, like I said, and I use this a lot, first come, first serve type shit. But I think right here, I think this would be fantastic for 49ers. Just get another young, explosive guy who could be here for a while for the 49ers. So Folk going to San Fran.
I like that. You pair him with Mykel Williams, Nick Bosa. It's a nice little rotation going on right there. Okay, that takes us into pick 28, and it's a team that, quite frankly, is getting too much hate. Their quarterback's getting hate, their head coach is getting some hate, their whole team's getting some hate, and that's the Houston Texans. I've been seeing them getting slandered. They've won a playoff game 3 straight years. They've lost in the divisional round 3 straight years. So they're stuck. They're hitting a wall. They're trying to get over that hump. And I got a guy that I think can help get over that hump. Now, they're also in a position to go luxury because their roster is just straight up so good. You got Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson rushing the passer. That's the best defensive end duo in the game. You have one of the best secondaries with Kamari Lassiter, Derek Stingley, and Jalen Petrie, along with new signee Reed Blankenship. He's an exciting white. Aziz Al-Shaair and Henry To'o at the linebacker positions. You just signed David Montgomery. You add some new offensive linemen with Wyatt Teller and Braden Smith. This team is in a really good spot. I love what the Texans are doing. One position where they do lack, though, it's interior defensive linemen. Currently, there's 2 starting D tackles are Sheldon Rankins and Tommy Togiai. They also added Logan Hall. So with that being said, this guy's still on my board. It's Peter Woods, the defensive tackle out of Houston. Now, we covered him a little bit earlier, but just some notes that I have on him. He's a 3-year starter. Doesn't have the production numbers, only 5 sacks over 3 seasons, but he's a defensive tackle, so that's hard to ask. I mentioned before, he's an early declaree. He is also, like Keldrick Falk, like Arvell Reese, only 20 years old. He's young, he's got time to grow, and he's very athletic. And if there's anyone that knows how to get after the passer, it's DeMeco Ryans and this Houston defense. If you add Peter Woods to disrupt the inside when you got Hunter and Will Anderson, who just got that huge contract coming off the outside, they're going to put some teams in hell. I think this is a really, really solid pick. They've been rumored to go with a defensive lineman here, add to that rotation. So I got Peter Woods heading to Houston.
I like that. Okay. A lot. So Texans don't really need a lot. Definitely could see defense boost here, but their defense is so damn good every year. I went with a guy that can play multiple offensive line positions here. A guy that can really excel in the pass and run game. I went with Emmanuel Cregan from Oregon.
Oh, nice.
I know. And I was looking at it because it's like, okay, you look at other positions, just got David Montgomery. They could go running back, but I think they could wait on running back if they really wanted to address that. Could also go receive. I could honestly see the Texans possibly maybe trading up, giving up next year's first if you're that confident in one of these top 3 receivers. And I don't think that's being talked about much because they're missing that. They're missing really receiver depth because Tank Dell's coming back next year, but you don't know how that's going to be. Jaden Higgins just get a guy that can go for sure with Nico Collins up there. I would love to see the Texans jump the board and grab a receiver, but I don't think they're going to do that. So I'm going to have them protect C.J. Stroud some more, especially with their running backs. It was just brutal last year. It was so hard to watch their offense, and I think that's why this pick has to be an offense here because there were times you're just watching. I think they ran a run play during one game last year 4 straight times on the one and did not score. And they got a penalty and pushed it back. I think it was the Seahawks. That was just a big defensive game, I think. But they ran, then they got the penalty that reset it back to first down, ran 2 runs again, and it didn't work. It's just miserable. You need to address something on the offense here. This might be a little bit of a reach. They could trade down, could trade up. I think why not grab your guy right here? A guy that can play multiple positions, which I think is huge for them because I think their tackle play is already pretty good. Braden Smith, they also have Wyatt Teller. So, the right side's pretty good. This guy could go all over, I think, on their offensive line. So I think this could help them a lot.
All right. Joe's going Pregnon at 28. That's fun. All right. 4th to last pick here. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. They just acquired this pick. It's the Rams pick originally, but they acquired it from the Trent McDuffie trade that happened about a month or 2 ago. So with my first-round pick, I had them going Spencer Fano at 9. Joe, you had the Chiefs at 9 taking Ruben Bain. So we went different sides of the football there. I went offense first, so now I'm going to go defense here. Looking at the roster, receivers in need. Offensive line's in need, but we got him going Fano. Cornerback is certainly in need. So I really wanted to go corner here. I really did. But we see Veach just that's his bread and butter. He drafted Noel Williams in round 3, Jalen Watson in round 7, So he likes taking those secondary guys on day 2 and day 3. And something else that they really need, Joe, you had him going edge rusher with your first pick. I got him going edge rusher with my second pick. So if you look at some guys available, you got guys like Cassius Howell, TJ Parker still available. I really did want to go Parker. But a guy that just, when I close my eyes, it's the same thing with like Messidor and the Vikings. When I close my eyes, who can I hear, hopefully not Jamal Charles, announcing going 29 to the Chiefs? It is, oh my God, how far down is he? Wow, this guy's deep on this website. Number 68, it's Malachi Lawrence, the defensive end out of the University of Central Florida. He's a 4-year guy, 20 career sacks, 3 forced fumbles. He's a little bit on the lighter side, only 250 pounds, but I don't think that stopped the Chiefs before going with a lighter defensive tackle or defensive end, and it helps when you have a defensive tackle like Chris Jones. You can be a little bit quicker and faster on the end. Peter Woods would be a good pick. Cassius Howell would be a good pick. I wanted to go edge no matter what here, so really I just had to close my eyes and just kind of think about who can I see wearing red and gold, and it was Malachi Lawrence going at 29.
Not bad pick. This is finally where I have them going double defense here. This is where Gerard McCoy goes right here. Or Jermod, sorry. Chiefs have the luxury every year to kind of take the risks on these players. Like I said earlier, this guy really has a lot of potential, but kind of like not playing at all last year obviously provides that risk, but his potential's off the charts, and I think the Chiefs recognize that. How do we replace Trent McDuffie? Like, I think this is a prime example that if he falls into your lap at 29 here because of people just don't want to take that risk, you can take that risk, so go ahead. And then that trade just kind of helps them out a lot. Obviously, you didn't have to pay McDuffie, and then you might get at 29 here. So, Dermot McCoy from the Balls.
Actually, funny enough, FanDuel has his odds at, they were a lot higher, but with the knee injury and some other stuff in the last couple of days, his line has moved to 28.5. So you got him going at 29. So Vegas, they're kind of on the same side as you. I got another fun tidbit for you. Jermod McCoy is from Texas, went to the same high school as Patrick Mahomes. Little tidbit for you there, little nugget. Yeah, there you go.
There it is, right? Hammered it.
Yeah, it's happening. Okay, as we move into the 30s, pick 30. This is originally, it's originally the Denver Broncos pick. They acquired Jalen Waddle, so they dished that to Miami. Right now, as we stand, Miami does hold it, but as you guys remember, I had the Dolphins moving up for Sadiq. That pick is now owned by the Dallas Cowboys here in my mock. I had the Cowboys at pick 12 selecting Ruben Bain at edge, and like we talked about with them last time, this offense is set. They're in a really good position offensively. Joe had him going double defense. I have him going double defense. I got him taking Jermod McCoy's running mate, Colton Hood, the cornerback out of Tennessee. Their cornerback room is pretty brutes. Diggs has fallen off big time. He's not even on their roster anymore. You got Deron Bland in the slot. On the outside, you've got Kobe Durant and Siobhan Ravel, who was the worst graded cornerback according to PFF in all of the NFL last year. He was a third-round pick out of East Carolina. Eberflus's defense was getting torched. If you were in fantasy and you looked at your lineup and you saw that your starting receiver was playing the Cowboys, you were like, oh, yeah, my guy's going off this week. I think Jerry Jones knows that. I think Brian Schottenheimer knows that. So I got him pairing Ruben Bain at pick 12 with Colton Hood here at pick 30. I think this would be a really, really successful draft for the Cowboys. And I know we're in the end of April here, but I'm going to come out and say it. Dallas Cowboys are my early pick to win the NFC East and potentially make the NFC Championship and even the Super Bowl. They're my sleep. I mean, is that a sleeper pick? I would say that's a sleeper pick.
I would, but I wouldn't even say that. This is the year for them to do it, you know. But Dolphins staying put here. They obviously need a lot. We've talked about that. I think this would be a fun pick for them. I'm going to take Avion Terrell, cornerback from Clemson here, brother of Casey's favorite corner of all time, AJ Terrell. I think this guy, you need a lot, and I think this is a great way to just kind of solidify kind of what we talked about, them taking Francis earlier, solidify both sides of the ball with two studs right off the bat that are going to make impacts for you winning games, the very few games you win. What's their line set at? 4.5?
It might have been 3.5, dude.
I'm still taking the over. I still think they'll be fine. I know I'm crazy. I still think, obviously not like playoff fine, but I don't think they're 4. If it's 3.5, that's a joke.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
If the line was at 2.5, I'm still taking the under.
This is an NFL football team. Malik Willis, I'm actually
Arch
love
Manning.
Malik Willis.
Arch Manning, welcome to Miami. This team is awful, dude.
I know it's bad, but like they got pieces.
But like we said, 7 picks.
They're
7 picks in the top 100. 7% of the top 100 players will be heading to Miami. So they got an opportunity to do something here.
And I think Terrell and Francis in the first round definitely starts that off. So that you could also make the case here that they do draft a receiver here, but if they don't do it earlier in the draft. But I've been taking Terrell here.
All right, our last 2 picks are the 2 teams from the Super Bowl. We got the Patriots at pick 31, the Seahawks at pick 32. Starting off with New England. Now, a guy that's still available, actually on both of our boards, is Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I really did want to have him going to the Patriots here, but I forgot they added Kevin Byard. So I don't think that's the move that they go with. I think they're going to go with edge rusher. They ended up losing Kayvon Chaisson to the Commanders in free agency. I think a guy that could immediately fill his spot is T.J. Parker, the edge out of Clemson. TJ's a guy that I would be pretty excited if the Bears drafted. He's another one of those guys. He was a 3-year starter at Clemson, an early declaree. He had 11 sacks in 2024 with 6 forced fumbles. But again, he had that down year in 25. So Parker was another one of those guys, like his teammate Peter Woods, that was projected to go like top 10 maybe a year ago. But he's trickled a little bit. He's trickled. And I think he'd be a really, really solid pick at 31. Some good value here for New England. And they'd be able to add another pass rusher.
I've been going offense here. I think kind of what their struggles were last year in the Super Bowl. Offensive line. Morgan Moses is 35 years old. Will Campbell kind of struggled. I think you go Blake Miller here, who I've been taking.
Clemson.
Solidified's just something. Yeah, Clemson's got a lot of guys here. But I think after they should trade for A.J. Brown. If they don't, that receiver room's kind of bleak, really bleak. But they did add Romeo Doubs, Kayshon Boutte. He's all right too. But they needed dog in that room, and I think A.J. Brown will definitely provide that. Also, you could see them going Sadiq here. Hunter Henry's old, just lost Austin Hooper. That'd be a fun ad in this Patriots team if they got Sadiq. But I think you build the trenches again here. Put a guy right next to Will Campbell around the same timeline, tackle-wise, and Blake Miller.
I think if Blake Miller or Max Iheanacho falls to 31, I think the Patriots are sprinting to the podium to turn in that pick. I totally would have them doing that, but unfortunately, those guys are both gone on my board, so I couldn't have them doing that. And that'll take us into pick 32 here, Joe. It's the Seattle Seahawks, and I mentioned that the Niners have not a lot of picks. They're towards the bottom with like 5 or 6 picks total. The Seattle Seahawks are dead last. They have 4 picks in the entire draft. And they just got stripped of a lot of dudes. Kenneth Walker's gone. Boye Mafe's gone. Kobe Bryant's gone. Tariq Woolen's gone. So not only do they not have a lot of picks, they're losing some dudes too. So I think this is a really, really strong trade back candidate. Kind of a fun one that I thought up would be the Jaguars, who have 2 second-round picks, trading up. But I think the Jaguars would be doing that to select Jadarian Price. And I think the Seahawks want Jadarian Price in round 2. So with that being said, I didn't have that happening. I went boring. I have the Seahawks sticking and picking at 32 and taking Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the safety out of Toledo. Nice. Did we do it? Nice.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so they drafted a safety in round 2 last year, Nick Emanwari, who was just tremendous as a rookie. He was really, really good. But on their depth chart, he's actually listed as a slot corner. And that's something that Mike McDonald really likes to do, move those guys around. Like I mentioned, they lost Kobe Bryant, who was kind of their ball hawk. And that's exactly what McNeil Warren is. He's a ball hawk. 5 interceptions. He's 6'3". Most defensive backs, like corners and safeties, are like 5'11", 6 foot. He looked, especially playing in the MAC last year, he looked like a gazelle on the field. He gets handsy with the hands. Super long arms. He's fast, violent. I think he could really fill Kobe Bryant's spot in a great way. And I get excited thinking about what Mike McDonald could do with McNeil Warren.
Yeah, I agree. I think the reason we probably have the same pick here is because obviously Kobe Bryant did go to the Bears. So I think, yeah, like Cole said, this guy just fits what Mike McDonald, yeah, what he wants on this defense, and I think it's just fitting. You know, you're getting a quick demon at safety. It's very bleak there position wise right now. It's crazy that they still lost some guys, and this team really doesn't have many holes. You could also see them probably maybe going O-line here. I wouldn't be surprised to see that, but I think this would be an absolute phenomenal pick for the Seahawks here if they're able to get them at 32. And I think, like we both have them doing, that's their third same pick of the draft. Ended on a good note here, but yeah, I think this would be a great pick for them.
Okay, that's all 32 picks. Now we're going to pull up the full draft boards and be able to give a review of everything we've got. Okay, that's it. That's all for the 2026 mock draft. Before we leave you guys, we're going to go over every pick again. And we like to keep a tally of how many we got right. Last year, me and Joe both did pretty well. I think I had 8, he had 7. So it was really close. And actually, the one that I won it on was the last pick of the first round. I had the Chiefs with Josh Simmons. So that was kind of cool. So Joe's looking to get me back this year. So we're going to go pick by pick and just refresh you guys on what we have. First overall pick, me and Joe, this one's quick. We both got Fernando Mendoza. That one feels like a lock. Pick 2, I have the Jets taking Arvell Reese. Joe, what do you got?
And David Bailey.
And then we flip-flop there at pick 3. I have Bailey going 3. Joe has Reese going 3. That seems to be what a lot of people have right now. Pick 4, though, we both have the Titans going Jeremiah Love. Pick 5, this is my proudest moment of the whole video. Joe had, well, we'll do this. This could be a combo pick. Styles at 5, Downs at 10 for me. For Joe, he had Downs at 5. Oh, the Giants trade back up with Cleveland. Kaboom again. Styles. So we both have the Ohio State teammates teaming up in the Meadowlands. As for pick 7, I got him going Carnell Tate heading to the Commanders. What do you got, Jay?
Oh, Makai Levin. And
then you follow that up with pick 8 with Carnell Tate. I ended up following that up with another receiver, Jordan Tyson. So this is going to be close. Like a lot of these, we're thinking the same page position-wise, but it's just like a slightly different player. That's going to be close. Pick 9, I have the Chiefs going Fano.
Ruben Bain Jr.
Pick 10, I had, like I mentioned, Caleb Downs.
I have the Browns taking Jordan Tyson.
Pick 11, I had the Dolphins going Mansour Delane.
I had the Dolphins going Francis Maui Nua.
Miami to Miami connection. Pick 12, where you were in agreement. Dallas needs defense. I got him going Ruben Bain.
I'm going Mansour Delane.
Pick 13's a weird one. Rams, they're in a luxury position. They can go a number of ways. I had him taking Makai Lemon, the receiver, out of USC.
I have him going offensive lineman Monroe Freeling.
Pick 14's Baltimore. I had him going Vega Ioane.
I went unique here. I have them taking tight end Keon City.
Pick 15, the Bucks, the Tampa Bay Bucks. Jermod McCoy. I had him getting weird.
I have them going edge Akeem Messidor.
And then pick 16, you had McCoy's teammate Colton Hood going to the Jets. I agreed with secondary, but I went, instead of corner, I went safety with Dylan Thieneman. I think whoever gets Tim is going to be really lucky. He's a beast. Pick 17, I had the Lions going tackle Monroe Freeling.
I've taken Spencer Fano.
Pick 18 was the Vikings. That's where I had Messidor going.
I'm taking Dylan Thieneman.
19, I had the Panthers taking Caden Proctor to play left tackle.
Caden McDonald, defensive side of football.
First come, first serve. You had Caleb Banks at 20 going to Dallas. Pick 20, I had Kenyon Sadiq. My first trade didn't come all the way till pick 20. I remember a couple years ago, Joe would have like 4 trades in the first 10 picks. We're changed men. We've matured now. I had Sadiq going to Miami. You had Caleb Banks, like I said. Pick 21 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I had him taking Blake Miller.
I have going guard Vega Uwane.
22, we agreed. I can't believe that. Chris Johnson out of San Diego State, the cornerback. Pick 23, I had Philadelphia taking Max Ihenacher out of Arizona State.
I have Omar Cooper Jr., receiver, Indian.
24, I went Denzel Boston for Cleveland. They need a receiver. I think Boston would be great there.
Cleveland, I went Caden Proctor.
Pick 25, our Chicago Bears. I went Keldrick Falk. Joe went Peter Woods. Pick 27's Buffalo. I had him going Caleb Lomu. Get Josh Allen as left tackle maybe for the future.
Went a different Allen than CJ.
Nice. Pick 27, this is when I had the Cardinals making their move for Ty Simpson. Now, Joe, I have a question for you. If you don't have Ty Simpson in your first round, where do you see him going? When and where?
Going to the Jets or the Cardinals early in the second round.
So, okay. Now, he's going to be going
A team up, so the suspense is broken after first night, but I think it'll be early second.
And that's going to be a big storyline because he's going to be present in Pittsburgh for the draft. So
like the whole sequence of Will Levis. Titans took him early first. So is he going to go in first? Is he not?
You're going to see the camera pan into Ty Simpson in the green room all night long. Pick 28, I had the Texans going Peter Woods.
I had Emmanuel Pregon.
Pick 29, Kansas City, I had him going Malachi Lawrence.
I did Jermod McCoy.
So Joe had McCoy and Hood going back-to-back at 15-16. Like, he had Hood 16, I had McCoy 15. Now, Joe has McCoy 29, I have Hood 30. So we both have him going back-to-back kind of to Dallas. I think Dallas could really use a cornerback. Joe, pick 30. You went Avion Terrell. You also went corner there. 31, the New England Patriots. I had him going TJ Parker, the edge out of Clemson.
Would tackle Blake Miller from Clemson.
And then pick 32 to round out the draft. We agreed, a wholesome moment. Emmanuel McNeil Warren heading to Seattle. So there you have it. This was our 7th year covering the NFL draft. We do our mock every year. We'll be right back here in 2027 with the Bears picking at number 32. Joe, thank you for joining me. The next time we're going to be doing this is going to be Fantasy Hangover come August, so it's going to be a while. Thank you for joining me, and peace